50 Cent's associates forced Jim Jones and his podcast co-hosts to pay for their attacks on the rapper's documentary work.
Right now, he owes, I'm going to say in a short way, at least $80,000, if not $180,000.
What transpired was neither a social media dispute nor a diss track. Jones was shut out of his own studio due to a concerted campaign, a landlord alliance, and leaked eviction footage. When Jim Jones arrived for G-Unit, 50 Cent's associates slapped him like this. Section 1. The original podcast, After the Power, was turned off and the locks were changed. Security footage of Jim Jones kicking open a locked door at his own podcast studio appeared online on February 19, 2026. A stranger did not release the video. 50 Cent, who claimed ownership of the building after collaborating with its landlord, posted it. The landlord, 50's affiliates, his business associates, and even Jones's own former Dipset partner Cameron added to the situation in the days that followed. Eviction documents were posted. They exchanged recordings of their phones. Because Jones couldn't afford heat, they made fun of him. It wasn't a physical smack. It was coordinated, public, and financial. And it wasn't a sudden development. 2 months prior, the entire situation began with a podcast episode in which 50 Cent discussed documentaries that he took extremely personally. Jim Jones appeared on Mino and Dave East's podcast, Let's Rap About It, in December 2025. The conversation veered toward the subject of documentaries and whether it was appropriate for someone to create one about another without that person's consent.
Is it acceptable for someone to create a documentary about you without your approval? How would you feel if it happened to you?
It was Dave East who asked. The fuse was sparked by the subsequent responses. The room instantly agreed. Mino likened it to releasing someone else's tape without their permission.
It's like
Definitely not acceptable. It's facetious and petty.
right. It's like somebody putting out your tape.
While Jim Jones saw it as petty and facetious. And the criticism continued. The hosts focused on the notion that someone might release negative video into the world without giving it any thought.
Without your permission.
And you're not an actual porno star.
And they do it.
The lighting wasn't good or nothing.
The inference was not nuanced. The group wasn't talking hypothetically, or if they were, it was evident from the timing. A Netflix documentary series examining accusations against Sean Combs, The Reckoning, was just launched by 50 Cent. It was viewed as exploitative by the Let's Rap About It crew. It was dubbed a mockumentary. They cast doubt on its intentions and presented the idea as an attempt to use a camera as a weapon against another person. The hosts used harsh words to express their disapproval, making it obvious that they believed there was a serious problem with the idea of defaming someone through a documentary they had not approved.
Trying to make you just look bad. Oh, they caught me on a bad day? I wasn't even on my This they caught a weak one.
The group leaned more toward the notion that this type of disclosure was intended to permanently harm someone's public image, and the displeasure in the room was evident. Jones then condensed everything into a single sentence that would serve as the foundation for everything that came after.
You see that the lighting is dark?
Damn.
You see that the lighting is dark?
Got me looking small
You
out
still put
here.
this on the internet?
Word up.
The concept was straightforward. A documentary should elevate you rather than denigrate you. Jones made a strong case for that idea.
But I would feel.
I ain't gonna front. I think
I would feel messed up.
if they saluting you,
First of all, they want somebody doing a documentary about you.
It's debatable now whether Jones was speaking generically or about a particular endeavor.
You wanted to be a dope documentary.
Yeah, it gotta be dope.
Showing who you are, what you've done,
Put out no bullshit
everything
on
you've
me.
accomplished. Like, yeah, documentary is a big thing. Like, you don't want nobody doing a documentary about like trying to just make your whole character look weak. Like, that's petty behavior.
Mino also weighed in, raising worries about defamation and the unapproved use of someone's likeness while raising doubts about whether such a project was even permitted. Later, Mino clarified on Instagram that his remarks were not a jab at 50, but rather a part of a larger conversation about documentaries in general. However, the harm had already been done. It wasn't considered general by 50 Cent, it was personal to him. Furthermore, 50 Cent never uses words to describe what happens after he takes anything personally, claiming they owed up to $250,000 in overdue rent for the exact studio they recorded in. He called the entire podcast team squatters and bums. With taunting, he uploaded the video on Instagram. He made a firm bid to purchase the studio. He started to undermine those who had recently questioned his veracity. On Instagram, Mino retaliated with derogatory remarks, cautioning 50 that if it's smoke, it's smoke. The hosts of Let's Rap About It responded on Christmas Day 2025 with a squatter rights freestyle, dissing 50 over his own beats. This audacious approach just served to provide 50 with more ammunition. He wasn't finished. By no means. Unbeknownst to Jones and his co-hosts, their interrogation of 50's documentary had opened a door that 50 Cent was ready to enter with his lease forms in hand. The tapes of the Landlord, the critique of the podcast was one thing. The next thing that 50 Cent did was completely different. In a move that fans and pundits would later characterize as devilish, 50 went straight to the Landlord, the source of Jim Jones's studio space, instead of just exchanging bars or posting captions on Instagram. He then filmed the conversation. Cent posted a sound recording of a conversation with the building's owner, where Jim Jones and the Let's Rap About It crew had been filming. Sam was the name of the landlord. Sam also spoke extensively about how their business partnership had degenerated into a tense and unsustainable financial arrangement.
Trying to build it, but he won't sign the lease. He's like, I don't like these terms. I want like 6 months of build out and ridiculous bullshit.
Sam claims that Jones had been utilizing the building under ambiguous lease conditions, requesting significant build-out concessions and delaying the completion of the deal that would have put everything in writing. Sam depicted a renter who desired all the advantages of the space without any of the responsibilities that went along with it. However, the financial entanglements extended well beyond disagreements about rent.
We also have a partnership agreement where half of what he's building now, his media, belongs to us. But he won't tell us how much he's making and doing all these things. So half of the content he's creating, if you want to buy that too, I'll sell you half the company.
The Landlord was more than just a property owner then. He asserted a contractual interest in the media produced by the podcast. According to Sam, Jones had failed to reveal earnings or comply with the conditions of the original agreement, which claimed that half of the content he was producing belonged to the building's owner. Sam was reportedly eager to sell that portion to a third party, namely to the individual who was at odds with his own tenant, because the lack of transparency had evidently ruined the relationship to that extent. The fact that Sam subsequently offered to sell 50 Cent that media interest as a sweetener shows how completely transactional the entire situation had become, and how little faith Sam still had in the economic partnership succeeding.
He's like insane. To me, it's worth very little to nothing. But if it works out for you, I just throw that in as a sweetener. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is he signed a lease with me.
The Landlord then revealed the figure that would make news for the next week and change the way the public saw Let's Rap About It as a whole.
Right now, he owes, I'm going to say in a short way, at least $80,000, if not $180,000.
$80,000 at the very least, and perhaps $180,000. Later, other stories would raise that amount to $250,000. Regardless of the precise figure, it presented a dismal financial picture of Jim Jones's podcast business, which depended on a location that its presenter was supposedly unable to afford. The irony was oppressive. It seems that the same group of people who had just sat in the studio and questioned 50 Cent's morality were unable to afford the electricity needed to keep the lights on while they worked. Cent listened to this call in private as well. He made it public. He put a tag on it. He made fun of it in the caption. There was no mistaking the message. Jim Jones and his co-hosts were unable to even afford the seats they were sitting on, as they questioned the documentary ethics of 50. Furthermore, this was hardly the climax for 50. It was set up. Rumors started to circulate that 50 Cent had elevated his status from provocateur to property owner by either partnering with Sam or buying the building completely. "Sam is my partner," he later wrote on social media. "The place is mine." It made little difference if this claim of ownership was completely validated or just another instance of trolling. "Now, you're going to fix every door you kick, or I'm going to kick your Jimmy." The impression was formed. The eviction notice seen in hip-hop would be the video that followed, and 50 Cent was now the landlord. The video of the eviction, not one, of 50 Cent's fans anticipated what he wrote on February 19, 2026. That track wasn't a diss track. It wasn't a meme. It wasn't even a cleverly humorous caption. It was high-definition time-stamped security camera footage that was quite embarrassing. Jim Jones and his friends were seen on the video in a hallway outside the IFC Film Studios, the podcast studio. The electricity had been cut off, the doors were locked, and the lights were off. Jones kicked in a second door after struggling with the first, and mentioning that the electricity had been disconnected. The building's security cameras, the same cameras that 50 now seemed to have access. Two filmed every moment in sharp detail. Cent purposefully made fun of the video in the caption. Dude, if we were friends, this would not have occurred. Do you want to be friends? I'm not sure. Let's rap about it. LOL. In order to strengthen the story and remove any doubt about what had transpired, the Let's Rap About It reference to the podcast name was incisive, purposeful, and intended to twist the knife as severely as possible. Additionally, 50 posted an eviction notice to Joseph Jones and IFC Management LLC, citing a 5-day termination notice that expired on February 17, 2026, and a 15-day default notice that expired on January 22, 2026. The lease had already been terminated for 2 full days by the time the video was shot on February 19th. Jones had limited legal access to the home, but the notice permitted him to contact the landlord and remove personal goods. The response on social media was immediate and massive. The escalation was termed as next level by Complex. Fans bombarded comment sections with terms like peak petty genius and pointed out that 50 had completely avoided physical conflict, substituting surveillance footage and financial leverage for fists. The feud will endure forever, according to one ex-commentator. Some suspected that 50's association with the landlord had granted him unrestricted access to the building's whole video system, while others questioned how 50 ever got the security camera access in the first place, referring to it as Big Brother energy. All Urban Central, a YouTube commentary channel, dissected the event in great detail, portraying it as a confluence of long-standing animosities, economic conflicts, and social media spectacle that only 50 Cent could have planned. After recognizing the duality of what viewers were witnessing in real time, the host skillfully created the stage.
Yo, nah, this is getting disrespectful and hilarious at the same time.
Additionally, the channel emphasized how dubious 50's access to the security footage was, posing the question that everyone was considering, but few could definitively address.
I just want to know, how did 50 Cent get access to the camera? Because it's giving Big Brother.
What made this moment so powerful was the juxtaposition between the gravity of an eviction and the ridiculousness of how it transpired online. A landlord-tenant conflict had been transformed into content by 50 Cent, and he was clearly winning the narrative war. He then provided Jones with a due date. If you don't pay by Monday, things will get worse. He posted other videos. He added additional persons to his list. He maintained constant pressure. For 50 Cent, humiliation is a continuous campaign intended to wear down the target into quiet or surrender, rather than a single incident. Every frame of the video was analyzed by online commentators. Jones was directly made fun of by others. The most incisive comment was made by users who connected the video to the larger discussion about hip-hop and money, pointing out that these rap artists don't make as much money as they claim. One user wrote, "From Dipset to Set." Another referred to the group as Lobby Boys. Still others highlighted the physical struggle with the door itself, writing, "Super Thug Grandpa doesn't even know how to kick a door." Jim Jones had been more than embarrassed by the video. It had called into question the whole image he had built over decades. Jim Jones's reaction and the origins of the conflict. Jim Jones didn't respond with a diss tune or a press conference. Instead, he shared a video of himself chopping wood and doing martial arts routines on Instagram stories, with a Bruce Lee picture in the background. The caption was, "Kung Fu Jim, no locked doors at all." It was a deflective, non-admittable remark, and commentators noticed right away.
Jim pulled up wearing what looks like the same outfit from the viral clip that started showing off martial art moves with Bruce Leroy in the back. Talk about show enough.
By rerouting the energy and refusing to participate on an emotional level, Jones avoided playing into 50's hands, according to the All Urban Central analysis.
It's almost like he's saying, y'all got jokes, but I'm outside and I'm good.
The channel went on to explain why this was strategically important, stating that demonstrating that 50 Cent's trolling was successful is the worst thing someone can do to them.
And honestly, that's probably the smartest way to respond when 50 Cent is trolling you. Because once 50 gets a reaction, he wins.
Which neither side would ever fully recover. Jim Jones's company at the time, Coke Records, was openly criticized by 50 Cent that year, referring to it as a cemetery. 50 and Cam got into a direct feud after Cameron called in to defend it during a Hot 97 interview. Jim and Cam, meanwhile, were not even exchanging words. 50 Cent had the Predator's insight to see that Dipset was breaking apart from the inside out. In September 2007, he asked Jim Jones and Juelz Santana to play at a G-Unit show. At the Enemies concert, Cameron's own crew member performed We Fly High. It was betrayal to Cam. It was strategy for 50 years later. 50 revealed the psychological calculation that underlies what many had thought to be an impromptu moment.
Jimmy was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on the side, like on the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Detailing exactly how he planned the entire action. After years of watching everyone else eat first.
So when Ballin' took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing. He wanted that.
50 saw that Jones was having his first genuine commercial moment with Ballin and knew what that moment signified. 50 likened Jones's enjoyment of his Dipset colleagues' success to Lloyd Banks's thirst for other G-Unit members' success.
He was watching them be that, like Mace be that and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally, he had one.
50 was aware of Jones's desperate desire for that degree of solo recognition.
And I just looked, and I knew, I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was going to go for it. Mm-hmm. But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam.
Jones bit after 50 tossed the bait. The weapon was that line, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. Jones wasn't being complimented. It was a wedge pushed between Jones and Cameron, with the intention of taking advantage of both ambition and insecurity at the same time. It disregarded the guy Jones was meant to be loyal to, while also giving.
You gotta watch to see how he responds. And then when you see, he like, oh, he really like that. Give me this, give me Jim.
Jones, the approval he had been longing for, realized the plan had succeeded as they saw Jones take in the compliments. He took advantage of the hunger, the eagerness, and the willingness to go beyond what Cameron would never tolerate. The following 20 years of their contacts would be shaped by that 2007 incident. It was a never-ending cycle of provocation, exploitation, and retaliation. The bigger picture. The Beef Machine by 50 Cent. The events involving the studio footage were not unique. It was the most recent chapter in a strategy that 50 Cent has been honing since the early 2000s. A complex system of conflict that turns every rival into material and every feud into an economic opportunity that fuels his rapidly growing media empire. His most well-known template was created with Ja Rule and Murder Inc., following his survival of a shooting that was purportedly related to their camp in 2000. 50 became a superstar after releasing the tracks Wanksta and Back Down, which methodically destroyed Ja Rule's commercial reputation. Physical altercations, attempts to blacklist members of the industry, and mixtape runs so destructive that they attracted the notice of Dr. Dre and Eminem were all part of that feud. The most effective hip-hop marketing tactic, when handled well, is controversy. This was the fundamental lesson 50 learned at the time. 50 Cent never forgot the lesson, in contrast to most others who did. Over the course of 2 decades, he painstakingly applied that lesson. The feud with Rick Ross, the exchanges between Floyd Mayweather Jr., the legal tale of Tyra Mari. They all use the same methodology: provoke, escalate, document, post, and then let the internet handle the rest while he relaxes and observes. An increase in engagement metrics. He has been called the best troll on the internet and the roast god by ex-fans. His role as hip-hop's unending narrator, someone who irritates opponents while remaining above the battle and never getting his hands dirty as his opponents rush to respond, has been covered in great detail by Billboard. The most advanced and brutal application of this strategy to yet can be found in the Jim Jones story. 50 used property transactions instead of diss tracks. He used security cameras instead of clashes on the street. He released lease termination documentation with timestamps and legal language that eliminated any possibility of misunderstanding, instead of using subliminals hidden in a lyric. Furthermore, the statistics paint a ruthlessly unfair picture of how 50 can act so freely. With G-Unit Films, the Power franchise, and partnerships like the Vitamin Water sale that brought in $100 million, 50 Cent has amassed an entertainment empire, sold over 30 million albums globally, and had 3 #1 songs on the Billboard Hot 100. Depending on the source, his predicted 2026 net worth ranges from $40 million to $100 million. Jim Jones, on the other hand, has 7 solo studio albums with cumulative first-week sales that never surpassed 21,000 units after 2005, reached his commercial pinnacle with We Fly High in the mid-2000s, and is thought to be worth between $400,000 and $600,000. There is more to the financial gap than just background information. The whole battlefield is involved. Without anyone having to say anything, the power dynamic is evident when 50 Cent wants to buy your studio and you are unable to pay your own rent. But Jones is still there. He used the Kung Fu movie as a response to the Eviction film, portraying the whole incident as free advertising for his company. Later, he used Instagram to offer a tour of his studio, showcasing the ongoing development and presenting himself as an investor in a multifunctional content creation facility, rather than a man who had just been publicly humiliated.
Since I'm starting the year off at the top of your Explorer, are you not entertained?
The story shifted from victimization to showmanship with that first line, which acknowledged the spotlight without recoiling.
Oh, everybody want to put my business in the street. Might as well talk to you about my business. Right now, I am in the second phase of construction.
In order to portray the chaos as active progress rather than proof of failure, Jones strolled through the building's raw, unfinished sections, which included stores, barbershops, and studios that were still being built out.
But in my mind, I was thinking of building like a little mart, but we'll see how that goes. Hold up, though. Show you what we're doing. I'm building a multi-purpose content creation facility for media, fashion, music, and broadcast.
He cited the fact that young artists were still using the space in spite of the conditions, describing their presence as evidence that opportunity is more important than comfort, and that the goal was greater than a single argument with a competitor.
All these those opportunity, they still be here working in the midst of us working. So we're still in the midst of construction.
Rapper or a landlord. Jones also noted that the building was cold, something that 50 Cent and Cameron had both continuously made fun of in previous posts. 50 once captioned a video showing the staff wrapping up and added wind effects. Jones adopted a different approach by confronting the issues head-on rather than acting as though nothing was wrong.
What I'm trying to say is, I've been happy to be able to invest in myself and something that I know is going to help a lot of other people. I'm not building this facility for myself.
Take responsibility for the mess, refocus the conversation, and continue to create. By framing the entire endeavor as community-focused.
Yes, it is a business move, that's why I invested in myself, but I'm building a facility for all creators.
Jones positioned the location as an incubator for under-resourced producers, as well as a podcast studio. He concluded by saying the one thing that best summed up his entire attitude toward 50 Cent's assault.
I appreciate the promo. I love free promo. You know, I ain't gonna miss a beat.
He refused to admit the harm while maintaining that the goal was the attention itself. It's still unclear if such answer is sufficient. According to some stories, Jones settled the dispute by sending the landlord more than $200,000, which permitted him to remain and go on construction. However, 50 Cent has persisted in blogging, as if the financial settlement had no bearing on the humiliation previously inflicted on the public. During this time, Jones's erstwhile Dipset ally Cameron also added insult to injury by making fun of Jones's purported financial difficulties and offered to pay for Jones's heating expenses through Zelle. Jones retaliated by calling Cam soft and freak, which just made more people start shooting. No legal action beyond reciprocal threats has been confirmed as of February 21st. Continue the conflict forever. At the conclusion of their breakdown, All Urban Central asked a question that remains unanswered and possibly unanswerable.
So now the question is, did 50 Cent really expose Jim Jones, or did Jim Jones just turn 50 Cent's troll into viral content? Don't forget to drop in the comments who you guys think took this round, 50 Cent or Jim Jones.
Is it strategy, history, money, or ego? The answer may be all of the above in a beef that has been going on for almost 20 years and shows no signs of ending. However, the building is owned by only one of them. I appreciate you watching. To view more videos like this one, click on one of the boxes that is currently playing on your screen.